Okay, so we're just making a quick video for how to figure out the cost of a project with lumber or steel. So, the one for this video is the indoor-outdoor bench that previously designed on SketchUp. So this one right here. I've gone ahead and dimensioned everything that we needed to have dimensioned in order to figure out the cost. There are a few dimensions missing in this project, like the angle of these pieces and the distance from the bottom of the leg to the location of this cross piece, but we'll figure that out afterwards. For now, this is just all about the cost. Okay, so going back to this, I've already created a parts list, so labeled each piece, put in the longest pieces first, followed by the shorter pieces, and that's important because when you go to cut these pieces up, if you happen to make a mistake and make this one a little bit too small, you can then use that piece to cut your smaller pieces out of. If you start with your smallest pieces and then you make that and you make all those and then you make your longest piece, you mess up on the longest piece, well, it's going to have to wait for another project for somebody else, or it's a waste. Okay, now to start with, our goal here with lumber is to figure out how many feet do we need. So how many lineal feet in a straight line, how many feet of that material do you need? So we've got 2x6s for the top, as well as 2x4s for the rest of the project, including one piece for the top. So if you go back to your drawing, you can see the two outside pieces are 2x6s, the middle one is a 2x4. Why do we say they're 2x6s and not, why aren't they 6 inches wide? A 2x6 is actually 1.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and a 2x4 is actually 1.5 inches by 3.5 inches. Okay, so this is fairly simple simply because we're only using two different types of material. Alright, next, to figure out our lineal feet, what we're going to do is we're going to take our length times our quantity, and then we're going to divide that by 12. And we only need to divide by 12 if this is in inches already. If it's in feet, we don't need to divide by 12 because that's just, there's 12 inches in a foot, and that's how we figure that out. So already I've started with 54 inches times 2 divided by 12 is equal to 9. So that's 9 lineal feet that we need. For the top middle, same thing. We only have one of them though, so it works out to 4.5 feet. Our stretcher, so our stretcher is what I'm calling this piece right here, and then these ones as well at the top, and there's one on the other side too. Those ones are 46 inches long, and there's 3 of them, so it works out to 11.5 feet. Now the one snag that we run into here sometimes is 21 3/16, so it's not a perfect number, and it's could be a little difficult to enter that on a calculator for some students. So how we could figure that out is we would take and divide out our fraction first to get a decimal. So we would then go back over here to our calculator. We're going to clear that, and we're going to take 3 divided by 16 equals, so 0.1875 is the same as 3/16. We're going to add 21 to that. So 21.1875, and we're going to multiply that by our quantity, so times 2 equals divided by 12, and we end up with 3.53 feet. So 3.53 lineal feet. Okay, and we do the same, so 17, if you took 1 divided by 4, it's going to be 1/4 or 0.25, so 17.25. Click that again. 17.25 times by 4 divided by 12, and that equals out to 5.75 feet. And then lastly, 8.5 times 4 divided by 12, 8.5 times 4 divided by 12, and we end up with 2.83 feet. Now the next part of our cost calculations is to figure out the number of feet of each type of material that we need. So first off, we've got 9 feet of 2x6s. So I'm just going to start by labeling this as 2x6s. Well, this one's going to be really easy because we have 9 feet. We're going to multiply that, the number of feet of 2x6s, by the cost of the material. So in here I'm going to just quickly search for my material cost sheet that I've shared with my classes, and you can see that the latest cost that I've gotten for 2x6s in spruce for an 8 foot would be $15.92, but we have 9 feet, so we'll go with this 2x6 by 12 foot ACQ. Keep in mind I'm only charging you for what you use, and we're figuring out the actual cost, so not a big deal. $23.88 for 12 feet. So it's $23.88 for 12 feet, and what does that mean? I'm just going to put that up here. 23.88 for 12 feet. Well, what we need to do is we just need to figure out what is the cost per foot. So we're going to go 23.88. We're going to divide that by 12, and that's going to give us our cost per foot. So it's $1.99 a foot. 1.99 per foot. How many feet do we need? We need 9 feet. We're timesing it by 199, and that's going to equal out to, answer, 199 times 9, $17.91 for those 2 pieces. The price of lumber has really shot up around here in the last year. Almost double in some cases. Okay, so that's one part of it. Now the rest of our material is all 3.5 by 1.5, so 2x4s. What we need to do is we need to figure out, once again, what is our cost per foot for 2x4s. Go back to our price sheet. 2x4 by 8 foot spruce, $6.80 now for a 2x4. So 6.80. We're going to divide that by 8 feet because that's how long that piece is. And generally that's what I buy because it's easiest to haul with my truck. So 6.80, we're going to divide that by 8. That's 85 cents a foot. So 0.85 per foot. Now all of our calculations for our 2x4s are going to go down here, and what we need to do now is we need to add up how many feet of 2x4s do we have. So starting at these ones right here is what we're going to add. So we're going to go 4.5 plus 11.5 plus 3.53 plus 5.75 plus 2.83. Enter. So 28.11 feet is what we need. So 28.11 feet. We're going to repeat the same as we did before. We're going to multiply it by the cost per foot. So 0.85, and that's going to give us the cost of our 2x4s. So just like if you go to the store and you buy a bag of chips and a pop, we're going to calculate these out separately, our items, and before we add on our extra charges. So in this case we have a scrap charge as well as our taxes, our sales tax. So we go 28.11 times 0.85 equals $23. What was that? $23.89. 23.89. Now our subtotal is going to equal out to 17.91 plus 23.89. 1.89 plus 17.91 equals $41.80. And then we're going to take that number and we're going to multiply it by 1.12. We're doing a 20% scrap charge just because I know my students in the past have made mistakes, and we're assuming that everything is going to line up perfectly and never does on a piece of lumber. So the easiest is just to do a 20% scrap charge and allow for some mistakes. So 1.2, my high schoolers, I typically only use a 15% scrap charge. So hopefully they're making a little bit more progress at that point and less mistakes. Okay, so I'm just going to put that in brackets. Why are we not multiplying it by 0.2 if it's 20% scrap charge? We don't really care what the actual cost of scrap is. We just want to know what the total is with the scrap. So we're multiplying it by itself plus the 20%. So we go back to our calculator, take that number, we're going to multiply it by 1.2 equals $50.16. So 50.16. And then we're going to multiply again by our taxes. So we have 11% tax. So once again, we're going to multiply by itself plus 11%, so 1.11. So we end up with $55.68 as the total cost for this project. All right, so I hope that helps, and have fun building that project.